Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about the top 10 units I would say should get Relic 10 other than Galactic Legends. Galactic Legends are also very notable characters you should give them to, but that's a little bit less interesting. So I'm going to be going over my picks, some of them sleeper picks, some of them pretty clear-cut decisions or clear-cut choices that most people would agree with. But Relic 10, overall, you got to remember, it doesn't add too much offense. It adds some extra survivability, less even than Relic 9 did. Gives you less mastery gain than Relic 9, but we're also looking at the unique stat bonuses that are to Relic 10, like Potency, Tenacity, Crit Avoidance. You're not getting any of those flat across the board for any other Relic level. And they're also thinking about Relic Delta. So let's jump into it, starting with number 10. At number 10, we have Master Qui-Gon, a character I don't have at Relic 10. And a lot of people don't, but he's a character many people have chosen to take to Relic 9 for the Assault Battle alongside Padawan Obi-Wan. I'll tell you ahead of time, Padawan Obi-Wan is not on this list, but why I have Master Qui-Gon is he does a significant amount of damage with basically no access to critting. No substantial access anyway. There's plenty of buffs on the Queen Amidala team. But at Relic 9, his base crit chance is like under 20%. But he still hits quite hard, even without a real substantial chance to crit. So I bought him right now for this offense. I don't have a crit damage triangle on him. I haven't put anything into crit chance. One thing about Relic 10 is it's going to give an extra 10% crit chance for anybody. For special or physical crit chance. You'd actually get a little bit more on the physical, even though he does special damage, because everyone gets a little bit of physical crit chance. It's just easier to come by. But until Relic 9, he has 0% extra crit chance, and Relic 10, he gets an extra 10%. That's still not super high, but if you were to commit yourself to getting a substantial amount of crit chance in secondaries, I'd recommend, because the whole point, I think, is to get at least a crit damage triangle. I wouldn't really go for a crit damage set, although you could. I would still go for lots of offense, but crit damage triangle, and just have him do an insane amount of damage. Because there have been times when I've fought the Queen Amidala team, and the enemy Qui-Gon didn't even have like a substantial crit setup. But I've lost, I think with Great Mothers or something. Padawan Obi-Wan I took out, and then Master Qui-Gon finished me off. So he does plenty of damage without that. That would make a huge boost. You could mod for like the crit chance and all that without a Relic 10, but the Relic 10 is really gonna jump up his survivability as well. He does a lot of debuffs, so that potency is going to help, but really the crit chance is what gives you at least a bit of a fighting chance to get to probably a 70% target, because I think you get some of those boosts from Queen Amidala. So that is my first sleeper pick with Master Qui-Gon. Number 9 on this list has a different angle, not exactly a sleeper pick, but not exactly someone that I anticipated slotting for Relic 10 when I was speculating about it before it actually came out. So my early speculations about Relic 10 were that you'd want a lot of AoE damage dealers. Bo-Katan is not an AoE damage dealer, but she is the substantial damage on her team. This team is a very useful one. It's a utility offensive team is the way I describe it, and almost everything is flowing through her with the true damage all over the place. She does her basics so many times. She does her armor shred. Like her moves just do a lot of damage, and she is not critting as well. You're not caring as much about the crit rate for her as you are for Master Qui-Gon. She has plenty to go anyway. You mainly still care about offense, but it's mainly a Relic Delta concern. Survivability is the thing, but it'll really help you with those edge cases against those tough Lord Vaders. Great Mother, she's a counter to, Gungans, Balin, all kinds of stuff you can just take care of with Bo-Katan, and since basically the whole team damage flows through her, and that can give her a substantial boost. I have her at my pick for Relic 9. A little less of a sleeper, but a little bit less of a super clear-cut choice as well. Number 8 on my list is also from a different angle as the previous two. It is Luthen. The big angle for him is he's a 2-for-1. His summon is a damage dealer, is a tank, and then he is also in need of surviving and doing damage himself. So Relic 10, it's a Relic Delta concern, but also you have the extra survivability for his tank. It's a multi-use summon disposable tank, so you're going to get multiple rounds of that, but every extra boost helps. Every Relic level helps. That's not only going to help Relic Delta, even if it's just a 1 Delta, you know, the 5% health, or the 5% less damage, 5% more damage is still something. But really, he's just a 2-for-1. He's on any team that you're going to have involving Rebel fighters, whether you still use an old school Saw lead or you're using Cassian. But among that whole team, I would go with Luthen. So he makes a little bit more use out of both the survivability element and the damage element as the past two, because with Qui-Gon and Bo, I'm not exactly worried quite as much about the survival part. And Luthen, it's funny, it's not really survival, it's just a little bit of a delay in having the Rebel Trooper die. So I think Luthen is a great choice as a 2-for-1, sitting at number 8. Number 7 is Baylan Skoll. So Baylan Skoll is another super popular, super high value journey guide character that's becoming a very early focus for most accounts. The path to Baylan is a rich one that brings you the Great Mother's team, and then at the end Baylan. So it's kind of a 2-for-1, both awesome teams. I don't have Great Mothers on this list, by the way. I don't think that's necessarily one of your first choices. But Baylan, it's more about survivability. It's a little bit about the extra potency and the extra damage, because he does do some significant damage. But he's the first tank on this list. Now, I don't think Relic 10 is exact. I don't think you should think about it exactly the same way as Relic 9, because Relic 9, it was like, why bother going from 8 to 9 unless it's a tank? You do get added benefits for tanks, but it is not the same as going from 8 to 9. You don't get as much health, you don't get as much protection, and there's plenty of other reasons to go for that with Relic Delta being a thing. However, he is the tank, he is absorbing the brunt of the attacks for his team, but he's also the one you really want to survive till his first turn to get things going with a mass buff dispel in most cases, or sometimes you use another move, but also he could land stun, so there's a potency concern there. But that really gets things going with the buff dispel, an automatic full turn meter removal if they resist the stun. So honestly, you don't care too much about the potency. But there have been matches where he's just barely survived, but if he survives that first onslaught of the other team, he's going to get things done, completely turn it around once you get at least one special. Plus, add that he's just an awesome unit that does some good damage. He's a pretty good standout tank to Relic 10. Number 6, and the first one on this list that I actually do have Relic 10 at already, is Ezra Bridger Exile. Now, he would be higher up on this list if it had not been for the recent Ezra nerf, mainly limiting him to if all allies are a Spectre. Even so, even though he is pigeonholed into that GL Ahsoka team, he also could go on a Hera team, I guess. Even with all that notwithstanding, he is quite a threat for Relic 10. He just makes use of so many elements of it. So he is one of the stat suffer characters. He does care about his damage, he cares about his survivability, and he has got some great masteries attached to him. Now, the mastery gains from 9 to 10 is only +5, which, you know, it's a complicated number. It doesn't mean a whole lot to a lot of people, but it's basically less bonuses to the stats attached to your mastery. Even that being said, he does get extra dodge chance, which is huge. The damage he's doing is always pretty substantial because, I don't know about you. He seems to me like he would be a special damage dealer just the way his kit is, but he does do physical. He's critting most of the time, even though I don't have crit damage triangle on him. I have gone kind of full health and full speed. He does hit like a truck. So it is something you could consider. You get extra crit damage from him too. His mastery is kind of bust. I think it's just such a cheating one. Crit chance, crit damage, and then dodging. Just evasion chance. It's kind of crazy. But he's the one you have to go through to beat that Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano team. Tons of hits. You know, the potency is going to get something from too. Tenacity is a nice boost. Crit avoidance. I mean, all of it. Because in the main off meta counter, Great Mothers versus Ezra, bad things happens if he either dodges, resists, or survives, takes the hit. So it's just kind of a threshold thing with him. He's going to be on defense a lot, and I think Relic 10 is going to make a huge difference with him, so he is in at number 6. And in at number 5, another unit I already have at Relic 10 on my main account, it is Darth Bane. So Darth Bane is a beast. I've long ranked him as the best non-GL character in the game. with a major emphasis on the Grand Arena game mode. If you look outside of that, he definitely falls off a bit. But he is of great value in territory battle. If you don't have a ton of high relic units, he is nice to go alongside the Eternal Emperor, even though you're not getting the rule of 2 stat applied. He does get his damage up there. That being said, he is a solo master, which means he's the only one to take damage on his team. After his partner dies, he's also can go with that Sith Eternal Emperor. And when it's a really tough matchup, there's plenty of close calls I've had at Relic 9. Most people mod for pure health. I have gone with a high emphasis on health, also going for some crit damage and offense. But nevertheless, if you go full health, because all you care about is dealing damage with this move, and you don't really care as much about these other two for some reason, he is going to be surviving more, which is crucial, because, you know, he mainly needs to survive, and he will ramp up enough anyway, eventually, unless you're really low relics and facing a super high relic Ahsoka Tano or something with a crazy data cron. Basically, every bit helps, and even though he is a beast already at Relic 8 or Relic 9, Relic 10 is going to be huge for him because he is usually a member of a team of only 2, and you need him to survive and do all the damage himself. So, top 5 character. And then number 4 on my personal ranking is Queen Amidala. Much like Luthen, she's in the category of a 2-for-1, where you get a decoy who is a substantial tank, a substantial burden to entry to get to the rest of her team. And it's even harder to get around this decoy on the Galactic Republic team than it is to get around the summon on the Saw team. This decoy cannot be debuffed. It just sits there with a taunt, doesn't take turns, but it is hard to kill. And, you know, the higher relics you have, the better delta you're going to have, the higher survivability. Queen Amidala already has a significant amount of survivability. I mod her protection. A lot of people go health. But you're going to get an extra 5,000 base protection, which will translate into... why are you showing me this? Oh my gosh. Anyway, I was saying that'll translate into even more extra protection once you add the mods for the modifications. Now the support unit, Relic 9 and Relic 10 are the only times Queen Amidala is getting extra protection from relics. Other units, unless they have it as a mastery, don't get any protection from relic increases. Pat's just getting to gear 13. It's a gear level thing. It's not necessarily a relic level thing. She is less for the damage. She is really more about survivability, but the survivability aspect for her is so significant that I think it puts her this high on the list, and I would definitely apply Relic 10 to her myself before Master Qui-Gon, but I would do Master Qui-Gon before Padawan Obi-Wan. It just really makes or breaks the team. If they can't get past that summon, if it's a Relic 10 with all the hit points that comes along with that, and it's got a bad delta, whoever's coming at it. At Relic 10, Relic 7s really get a difficult road forward. So Relic 9, it's only a minus 10% damage and then a Relic 7 versus a Relic 10 is a minus 3, so you get 25% damage penalty, which just makes it a huge pain. And a lot of people have their, like, Traya team at Relic 7 or Great Mother's team, maybe. So Queen Amidala is going to be a fantastic choice for one of your Relic 10s. And number 3 is one of my sleeper picks, Ben Solo. So I think this might be one of the biggest points of contention for players to think, I have him too high, but is kind of a Master Qui-Gon thing, but I've actually put it into practice so far. Ben does not have great crit chance. He has way worse even than Master Qui-Gon. So if we take away these mods, he's at 57%. And he got a little bit of crit chance naturally anyway from the Relic. So he got like 12% from going to Relic 10. So without Relic 10, or a lot of modding, he'd be sitting at around like 45% crit chance. And a lot of players do not try to go for crit damage at all or crit chance. They might slap a crit damage triangle on him and say, hey, once in a while if he crits, that's great, that'll be better. But I have kind of found a modding where I can eat my cake and have it too. Yes, that's the correct way to say that to make it actually make sense. But I got a lot of speed, crit damage, crit chance, and then also a good amount of offense. And you know, not everyone has this level of modding where you're getting offense, crit chance, and the speed on all of them, on like all the mods. So it's quite hard to pull together this modding. But I know of at least one match that was very competitive that I won solely on the back of crit chance crit damage on Ben. Granted, he was Relic 9 at the time, but now Relic 10 is even greater. And he is not only about true damage. So he does do a double AoE where one of the parts of the AoE is true damage, but the first part is crit damage, and then also his basic. So people aren't stupid when they're facing Ray. They know to try an ability block, Ben if they can, or increase his cooldowns, and then he's going to be doing a basic, which does not do true damage, but it can crit and hit quite hard. And that's actually how I won that match. I knew from facing my opponent. He used Queen Amidala, Ben basic, Padawan Obi-Wan, one-shot him with all the crit chance, crit damage, and then it was over from there. He does true damage in this ability, so, you know, that's going to be something. But yeah, I think Relic 10 is great for him. And even if you're not going the crit chance, crit damage route, it's still more damage for him. I had him at Relic 8 for a while, even Relic 7 for a little bit too long. And even though he's not getting tons of extra offense from it, he's hitting everybody, and that delta is just going to be multiplied under him. And then you add Ray's special buff that she places on him all the time. He just hits like a truck. So if people aren't suspecting it, they are going to be quite disappointed with the results of facing a Ben that is decked out like this at Relic 10. So that is number 3. Number 2, and unfortunately a character I have not Relic 10'd yet myself, it is Satele Shan. So Satele Shan is a tank, and she's kind of got the whole package. She has somewhat of a Jedi Master Luke thing going on, where her protection is translating into the damage that enemies take. I like that they kind of made that a Jedi theme with this. It's kind of expanded into that. But she does everything. She grants the damage, and she takes the hits. So Relic 10 would give you a lot of extra survivability. It will give like 9,000 extra health and like 13,000 extra protection. Not to mention she does some debuffs, and she's taunting all the time, so you might want a little tenacity. And the crit avoidance is a nice little touch. I don't have her modded for crit avoidance. I don't know if I'd recommend that, but really just pouring into the protection. I squeeze as much protection as I can. I can't wait to see what this number goes up to with Relic 10, because over half of her protection is for modding, so I don't know. If I add that, it might be 50% addition. It might get another 20,000 effectively when you add in the mods, which is quite nice. And she is letting everyone with her Omicron deal bonus true damage based on her max protection. It doesn't say a specific amount like Jedi Master Luke's does, but it's quite high. And then if you have the full Old Republic team, she's doing 20% of her max protection to all enemies. It feels like more, honestly. But once you're in the battle and you have a Datacron or something, it translates to quite a lot of damage. And then she is the one taking the hits. She's taunting quite frequently with, you can force the taunt on her, and I think she starts with it, but then you go and taking a turn pretty quickly. She's just got the whole package, the real deal. And it's going to make or break some matchups. Now, the only thing to say about her is she does have a significant weakness on defense, and that Sith Eternal does not care what her relic level is. So if you're going to be putting her on defense, you might want to go for someone else. And I've kind of not felt rushed to get her to Relic 10 because she's had a Datacron propped up right now. And I recently applied Bane and Ezra, so if I didn't have something to juice her up with the Bastila the Old Republic, I might have gone for her sooner than either of those two. But I don't think you'll be disappointed with Satele. And that brings us to our final selection, which is the most boring pick. And I'm sorry if you were expecting something completely enlightening, but it's Darth Revan. Darth Revan has superpowers, and that Relic 10 with him makes your life easier. Not just the game, your life. Because he is the fleet commander to the strongest capital ship in the game for over 3 years now. It might actually literally be 3 years since it was released. We don't have news of another capital ship. This is every day in Fleet Arena if you have Leviathan. If you don't have Leviathan, do not Relic 10 your Darth Revan. I'll just say that. This is all about the ship. It is not about his performance on land at all. It is all about the Leviathan. And the reason being is this is one of those dreaded coin flip metas of Leviathan. So if you have the exact same speed on both Leviathans that you're facing in Fleet Arena or in Grain Arena or TW or whatever, it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be, well, it's not going to be a nightmare. it's going to be an inconvenience because you're going to have to play. If you're faster, auto. Doesn't matter if it's high speed, the way it works. Sabotage the entrance, removes turn meter, reduces speed, and you're just ahead. That's it for the rest of the match. You're going to win. You just hit auto, you look away. If you are going second, if you have a Relic 9 Darth Revan, which is the requirement to unlock Leviathan, and you're facing a Relic 10, you're always going to have to play that through, get to your Scimitar, and then you can hit auto. Which might sound trivial, but Fleet Arena you play every day if you're going for crystals, which you should if you're trying to play efficiently. And it's just such a game changer. I would not say the same for other big fleet commanders like Admiral Piet or Admiral Raddus, because those are less coin flip meta. Who goes first is going to win. It's less of that than Leviathan mirrors. They're a pain. And then in Grand Arena, I think the top end of Kyber Wonders really moved away from trying to stop people on fleets, and they just bring everything on offense. But if you are facing people and you're in lower leagues and you get a Relic 10 Darth Revan with Leviathan, that's a huge pain. They usually have to have their own Leviathan or run an Executor counter that will be a little bit harder. It's only 3 extra speed on the ship, but it's huge. And if you have a Relic 10 Leviathan and your opponent tries to bring in a Relic 9 Leviathan, if you have it set up so that Scimitar comes out first, they're not going to beat you to ultimate and they will lose. So it's just a huge game changer in terms of your daily life and all across the board. Fleets are everywhere. So yeah, it might not be the most interesting choice for number 1, but it's the only one that I have really truly noticed a difference, an unmistakable difference in every way. And I don't even care about his stats. I haven't talked one thing about Revan fighting alongside Malgus on land. It's because it's really not the consideration. But that'll do it. What do you think of Relic 10? Do you enjoy Relic 10? Do you think it's weak? How many Relic 10s do you have? And who do you think I should have had on this list that I didn't? Love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.